Hey everybody, it's Chuck Garfien. Welcome back to the White Sox podcast. And with the White Sox celebrating both the 125th anniversary of the franchise this year, and it also being the 20th anniversary of the 2005 World Series Championship, I'm bringing back a bunch of former White Sox players on the podcast throughout the year to catch up, to reflect, and to reminisce. And we're starting with someone who I've wanted to have on the podcast for a long, long time. Maybe the most underrated White Sox player of the last 30 years, 50 years. Talking about Ray Durham. I mean, a two-time All-Star. He's the only White Sox second baseman to make the All-Star team since George Orta in 1975. He scored over 100 runs in 6 straight seasons, and in a parallel universe, he would have been on the 2005 World Series Championship team. So on the podcast, we talk about his time with the White Sox, getting traded and missing out on the 2005 World Series, his teammates, Ozzie, Guillen, and Frank Thomas, also playing for the Moneyball A's, and later being a teammate with Barry Bonds. So this is a great conversation with a great player, Ray Durham. He is back in your White Sox life. Let's do it. All right, with me on the podcast, it is former White Sox second baseman Ray Durham. And Ray, I've been doing this podcast since 2016. There is a small bucket list of former White Sox players who I have wanted to get on the podcast and haven't. And you have been on this list of mine for years. So to get you on the podcast, it means a lot. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks for having me on.
So when you think back on your White Sox career, what goes through your mind?
What a fun time that was. Got to, play with some not only great baseball players, but first and foremost, great people. Frank, Ozzie, Harold Baines, Robin Ventura. Lance Johnson. The list goes on and on. It's just a great bunch of guys.
That was an amazing era of great guys. You had some good teams, potentially great teams, but when you mentioned those people, those players, you were really with like a special group, right?
I always tell people that's, it's like it was baseball was baseball. It was, no nonsense, hard nose. You played the game. It was just, it was fun. It was a fun team and a fun family.
Do you have a favorite moment from your time with the White Sox that you can point to?
Yeah, I think when it was Ozzie's last year. I think that was a special moment for me because he brought me in with open arms. He taught me the game. I think that would probably be my special moment as a White Sox player.
I wasn't expecting
watching
you to
that
say
day.
That. That Ozzie's last day, he had that kind of effect on you. Obviously, he was the shortstop. You were the second baseman. You were a play-by-play combination.
I always tell people he didn't have to do that because, before I got there, Joey Cora was the second baseman. I know those two were close, and we would, in spring training he would take me over to the half field, and even Joey. Joey was over there too, so it was like, man, this is, you normally don't see guys help you out if you're trying to take their job, and so on and so forth. But it was like, is this how this is?
Yeah, that's a very selfless thing.
Yeah, it truly was.
And Joey to do for sure. By the way, I reached out to Ozzie this morning. And I told him, hey, I'm going to have Ray on the podcast. Do you have anything you want to ask him, say to him? He immediately writes back, oh man, let me think. And he hasn't responded yet. So I'm
Well,
gonna have to
Ozzie
I'm gonna
probably
reach
got
out to him
busy.
again and get his. I'm like, hey, I'm with Ray right now. Give me something. I thought you were gonna say game one maybe of the ALDS
Oh
2000
my
when you
God.
hit the home run off of Freddie Garcia.
No, it's. Yeah, I was just doing my job. I mean, my job was to get on base and hit an occasional home run from here, time to time. But you know, I mean, a really special moment was, that moment. Also, playing with that great bunch of guys.
Yeah. So you spent 8 years with the White Sox. You played over 150 games and had 100 runs scored in 6 straight seasons, 2 All-Star games. Now, maybe it's tougher for me to ask you this question, but I'm going to ask you it because a lot of fans feel this way. Do you feel like your White Sox career was, if not overlooked, looking back, underappreciated?
Um, you know, I don't think it's either.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of guys, had the kind of careers I had, only if not better. But I had, I wouldn't change a thing. I mean, I had fun. I enjoyed myself there, and I'm happy with what I did.
Oh, you had such an amazing career, which I want to get into, but how it started is really interesting because you get drafted in 1990. Larry Himes was the GM. You had Alan Goldis was the scouting director. So in that draft, Alex Rodriguez, first round, Bob Wickman, second round. He eventually was traded, but I mean, he spent 16 years in the big leagues, 267 saves. James Baldwin in the fourth round, you in the fifth round, Jason Beret, 36th round. I mean, they were doing some amazing drafting. They also in that era drafted Frank Thomas, Jack McDowell, Robin Ventura. And something was being built. Did you feel like, boy, we have something being built here through the draft that is special?
That was an awesome draft. But I mean, that was a part of some awesome teams. Mm-hmm. I mean, unfortunately, we ran up against the juggernaut and the Mariners.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, you had some great players and they really knew how to build through the draft and find guys. I mean, what was your experience being drafted by the White Sox, how they found you and drafted you?
Alex Cosmides was, the scout that was scouting me. And I always thought that they were there to see, like our shortstop, who was he was a freaking stud. And I was always there. He was there to see them, and I don't know what happened. He wasn't there one day, and then I think I went like 3 for 4 or something, and then the next day he was there, and he kept coming out. I'm like, oh, okay, I might get drafted. But then I always thought I would play football. To be perfectly honest, baseball was kind of something to get me through, and they got the call that I got drafted. I was like, wow, this is really going to happen. And, go to spring training and, rookie ball and all of that. And, the traveling, it was kind of experience, country boy from North Carolina, get to travel, all over the country. It was awesome.
You batted leadoff for most of your career, and in your career as a leadoff hitter, I got the numbers here. You had a 356 on base percentage, an 801 OPS. Did you take pride in being a spark plug?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That was my job. I just wanted to do my job and get on base in front of the big sticks. I figured if I got on base, I was going to score. I mean, that's how good I thought the offense was. Yeah. And pretty much I did.
Yeah. I would love to be a leadoff hitter in front of those guys.
Oh, yeah. I really didn't have to do much, which, I also took pride in, having a successful rate in stolen bases, but Yeah, I mean, if I didn't steal second or steal third, I mean, you hit in the gap, and I was going to score easy.
Yeah, when I think of you running around the bases. You were running and running around the bases for 8 seasons.
And kept running.
I kept running. And when you didn't feel like running, you just wanted to trot to start a game. You had this knack for hitting the leadoff home runs. You had 20 of them, which is a White Sox record. When you look back on how you did that, how did you do it? Why were you so successful? It's like I think of you and Ricky Henderson.
I it was almost like the first or second pitch of the game. I mean, the pitchers really weren't, throwing their A+ stuff. So I wanted to catch them while they were sleeping. It was a little get me over fastball. It's like, I'm not going to let that easy pitch go by, and just put a good swing on it. Sometimes I did miss now and hit a pop up to the pitcher or a pop up to the infield, and I was like, oh man, they're gonna start putting the takes on, but they never did. So I mean, it just got to be aggressive, and I made it work.
So this is why you are special, especially in White Sox history, and why you stand out. And another reason why I want to talk with you. So you made the All-Star team in 1998 and 2001. You are the only White Sox second baseman to make it to the All-Star team since George Orta in 1975.
No.
Were you aware of that?
I was not aware of that.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I know. That is totally insane. The White Sox have been looking for – they basically been trying to replace you ever since you left. There was Tadahito Oguchi, who was in there for a few years, Gordon Beckham for 4 years. But you look at this, from 1995 to 2002, you were the second baseman, starting second baseman on opening day. Since then, there have been 17 different players starting on opening day at second base. Chris Getz is one of them. Chris Getz is now the GM of the team. And the last 12 years, there have been 12 different starting second basemen. It's going to be 13 this year because I'm assuming Nicky Lopez won't be back. So you, for many White Sox fans, they look back at the Ray Durham era as the golden era for White Sox second baseman, and you definitely presented that.
I tried to keep my nose clean, nose to the grind, and did my job and had fun doing it. That's insane. That truly is. I didn't know that.
So when they traded you in 2002, how shocked were you that happened? Yeah,
I was shocked. I was shocked. I thought that I would be there a long time, and I know. I mean, it's part of the business. It happens, but when it happened, I was shocked. It came out of left field.
Yeah. Why were you so surprised?
I don't know, because I mean, it's I thought we had the nucleus to do some things. I mean, we had a great core of guys, and then the younger guys coming up. Mike Cameron and Carlos Lee and Maglio. I mean, a good nucleus of young players coming in, and felt that we can do some things. I mean, you guys did win the World Series without me.
Was there a part of you when you watched the White Sox win that World Series in 2005, you're like, boy, that could have been me. I could have been there on that team.
Oh, of course. Of course. But, it's, you got, I think, I'm not sure who is that Willie Harris that was in that?
Well, Willie Harris replaced you, I believe, but then by 2005, they had
was he going in 2005?
Oguchi.
Oh, that's right. Okay. That's right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's, it seems those type things happen for a reason, and, we move forward.
Yeah, the situation back then was you were in the final year of your contract, and looked like Kenny Williams, who was in the beginning of him being the GM of the White Sox, was looking at it as, well, we got to get something for him because we're not going to be able to afford him as a free agent. Is that what you were thinking? Like, oh, they're going to trade me because of that, but you didn't see it coming, so that surprised you.
I didn't see it coming. I truly didn't. Because I mean, it's I don't know. I mean, players a lot of time take hometown discounts, and especially if they're happy where they are. I mean, you try to make things work, and I guess I've never got the chance. Let's say that. I mean, I never got the opportunity to give him a hometown discount, and I would have. I'd have given him a hometown discount because I liked where I was, and it was a good team. I mean, it wasn't like we were not making the playoffs every year. I mean, or not in contention, at least to go to the postseason. I mean, which we were. I mean, we were in contention. I mean, every year.
It's funny how that turns out. You were never given that opportunity. I think the White Sox just assumed, well, we can't afford him, let's trade him. But there was never even a conversation.
No conversation. I mean, give me a chance, give me an opportunity.
Well, this, and then on top of it, who did they trade you for? No offense to this person, but you were traded to the A's for AAA pitcher John Atkins, who had a 6 ERA. That didn't work out. No.
I mean, maybe it was I don't know. Maybe it was just, like I said, get something for me. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, I still hadn't figured that one out yet.
Well, you took the high road here, and you took the high road back then. I found this quote from you after the trade. Like, you were just stunned by this. And you said, quote, "I honestly feel this team is going to do great things.
Yeah,
we definitely have the offense to play with anybody in the league, fill in a couple spots here or there, and we're right there. But if they feel they want to go in another direction, I have no control over that."
I mean, if I had any control, I would finish my career as a White Sox. But move forward, and got to witness some things out here on the West Coast, and there you have it.
There you have it. Yeah, you can't go back in time and try to think it through too much, even though I'm actually forcing you to do this. By having you have some revisionist history here, but I'm still trying to make sense of it. I remember when the trade happened, I'm like, why are they trading Ray Durham? This guy, Atkins, better be great, and he wasn't. But it did turn out they got Tadito Iguchi. They won a World Series. But, boy, it would have been great to have you be a part of it.
What could have been?
What could have been. So you get traded to the A's in the middle of this Moneyball situation.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're kind of in the middle of this. I think your character, or someone played you in the movie, right?
Yeah, somebody played me in the movie.
So were you aware of Moneyball, even though I don't know if it was called Moneyball back then, but you know what they were doing when they trade for you? Because they trade you, they acquire you. The A's go on a 20-game winning streak with you. Yeah. And you become a part of not just baseball history, but movie history.
Movie history. Yeah, that was, that was insane. I mean, there was games that we won. There's no way in hell we should have won those games. I think we were, can't remember who we were playing. We were down 9 runs or something going into the eighth, bottom of the eighth or something, and wound up coming back and winning the game. I mean, Hatterberg's home run. It's like, no way that just happened.
Yeah, and what they talked about in the movie, right, about plate discipline and things like that, was that something that was preached to you guys?
Yeah, because a lot of those guys had, I mean, they walked a lot. I mean, they walked a lot. I mean, it was,
and you did,
not a lot of base stealing,
which was your thing, by the way.
Which is my thing, and it was, I guess, when they brought me over, it was kind of relayed that we kind of do things a certain way here, and which was fine. But I mean, base stealing was my thing.
Mhm.
But I mean, I kind of adjusted, my game to, their game, and it worked out. I can't remember if I got caught stealing. I don't think I did with the A's for that, brief stint that I was there.
I can look it up.
I'm sure. I mean, the internet.
There is an internet right now.
Yeah.
I can see if you. I mean,
I don't think I did. I don't think I did.
Let me see what you did here. You played well with them.
I did.
Well, Ray, you got caught stealing twice.
Really? Oh,
you did.
man.
You did. You had 20. You stole 20 bags with the White Sox, caught 5 times. You stole 6 bags with the A's, caught twice.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
who was the good catcher, the best catcher who could not throw you out? Who did you have a lot of success against?
yeah, I didn't. I never stole off the catchers, really. I mean, it was really, taking the bags off pitchers.
Yeah.
The really tough one was Pudge. Pudge was good.
Now, I mean, I know you were stealing off the pitchers, but how did you do against him as a catcher? Or did you try not to really even go that route because he was so good?
No, you took chances.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every time you stole the base, you took a chance.
Yeah.
I think I got a couple off of Pudge. I mean, he didn't shut me down. I had to pull that up and see how many stolen bases I got off Pudge.
But it's funny because they talk about what they don't talk about in Moneyball is your 3 best pitchers. You did have Barry Zito, Tim Hudson, and Mark Mulder. That was kind of a big part of why the A's were successful, and it's kind of like, slipped under the rug during the movie.
Yeah, that was. I'll tell you what. I mean, that was a good team. That was a good team. I mean, that pitching staff was. I mean, I can't remember who's. Ted Lilly. I mean, I think he had 19 wins too.
Ted Lilly was on that team?
Yeah. I think was he the 4th starter? You have to look that up for me.
I'm looking that up right now.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken.
Jermaine Dye was on that team, I know.
Yeah, Jermaine Dye was on that team.
Brad Pitt was on that team. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
No, not Brad Pitt.
Let's see here. Your starters: Corey Lytle.
Corey Lytle.
Oh, Ted Lilly was on that team.
Yeah.
But he was a young guy, though. He was 26, but he threw 23 innings, so he wasn't on it too much. Your closer was Billy Koch. He had 44 saves.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like Barry Zito went 23-5. Hudson went 15-9. Mark Mulder went 19-7.
19, yeah.
And it's funny, we talk about you look at rosters nowadays, and they'll go through 30 pitchers a season. That team had like 16. Different game altogether.
Oh, it is a different game today.
All right, so back in 2000 and 1999, there was a slogan with the White Sox. It was, do you remember what it was? The kids can play.
The kids can play.
The kids.
Yeah, the kids can play.
Yeah. So you had, you were a veteran. Frank Thomas was not a kid, but there was, a new era coming. Paul Konerko, Magli Ordonez, Carlos Lee, Mark Burley would be coming along. And I ask you about this because like the White Sox are just starting to be the kids that can play. Hopefully they can play. So what was that like being a part of that team and having that young energy at the ballpark and, believing in the hope that the team could do something special?
It's kind of like when I was a rookie, the older guys would show us the way. And then now, well, at that time when those guys was coming in, I was the older guy, looking, to pass the torch and, show them, the way that I learned, and kind of take those guys under my wing, and like I said, man, I mean, that's some young guys coming through the pipeline, and wanted to be a part of that, and never got the opportunity to do so.
Yeah. When did you feel comfortable as a player in the major leagues? You came up in, it was 95 was your first
Yeah,
year.
95 was my first year. It's from Jump Street. I mean, it was, even in spring training, you're with the guys, and you're playing, and you're playing hard, they're playing hard, and I'm doing my job, they're doing my job. So it was kind of like a easy transition. I always thought that I would have been nervous, and I wasn't nervous at all. Just the constant reps and what you do in spring training and in the off season, and when the bell rings, you just really, I mean, truly, you just go out and play.
Having guys like Frank Thomas on your team, that had to help. What was it like just watching Frank on a day-to-day basis?
It was. You got to witness. I got to witness greatness. I mean, he won 2 MVPs, I think.
Yeah.
He won 2 MVPs.
He thinks he should have won 3 in 2000.
Of course, Frank would say that. Which, I mean, if Frank says that, he probably should have. But I mean, he was the ultimate professional. He went about his business. I mean, he was the big hurt. I mean, he can go yard, and I would say he could hit 30, 40 home runs, and hit 340 every year. I mean, it's like clockwork.
And you mentioned Ozzie. Yeah, what's that?
I say he was a machine.
He was a machine. Totally. Best hitter I've ever seen with the White Sox, and one of the best hitters ever.
Yeah.
You mentioned Ozzie. He always talks about how, he was not the best player on the team. He was arguably the worst hitter, but yeah. What do you say that? What do you mean?
No, he wouldn't have.
He always says that. Yeah.
Oh, he's modest.
Yeah.
Ozzie was a great player.
Yes, he was.
He was a great player.
But what I wanted to get to was, he was a great defender. He'll say he was, a terrible hitter, but he was still like the leader of the team. Yeah. How is he a leader of the team, or maybe the leader of the team as a player?
Well, because he always played hard. No, he was going to give it his all, no matter what. I mean, Ozzie would do things that I wanted to take into my game, because I mean, he took pride in what he did. I mean, he took pride in if he was down 0-2, he would try to walk, which was
rare.
Awesome. That's I mean, it's rare. I mean, guys, he wanted to put the ball in play. I mean, if and that's what I tried to do. I mean, I took pride in in not striking out. I mean, I didn't want to strike out. I wanted to put the ball in play, because I felt if I put the ball in play, it would put pressure on the defense, and it happens every now and again. I mean, where the guy would make an error, and if I got on base, I was going to score, and I pretty much did.
Yeah. Looking at your life right now, I mean, are you involved in baseball at all, or no?
No, I watch it from time to time. The playoffs come around, I'll watch it. But now I just I play golf. Let's say less stress.
Less stress. Well, golf can be pretty stressful.
It can be, but I'm I don't have to. If I'm having a bad round, I can just leave and go home.
You don't have to hear about it or read about it in the newspaper the next day.
No, you do not. And I don't have to feed my family to make the cut.
Yeah, a lot of pressure. I think fans don't realize the amount of pressure these players, these professional athletes feel, right?
Yeah, I mean, because there's always that guy in the wings that's no matter what sport, baseball, football, golf, basketball. I mean, it's that's always that guy in the wings looking to take your job. And I mean, in a sense, yeah, take your job.
So after the White Sox, and it's got a couple of things left. You played with Barry Bonds.
Yeah.
Can you just give me your thoughts on being around Barry Bonds and playing with him?
I know I've talked a lot about Frank. Barry's right there. What the ultimate professional hitter. I mean, just watching him like doing batting practice. He would do things that it was like, there's no way you just did that. He would take a ball like 2 to 3 inches inside off the plate and hit it. It'd be a home run and keep it fair. It's like, there's no way you kept that ball fair. It was, he was different. It's just, if not the greatest hitter, he's definitely up there.
And he hit majestic home runs.
Just towering home runs.
Yeah, yeah.
And I always used to kid with him. He said, I said that when they played a shift, say you can easily hit that ball through the hole. I say, why don't you just, take the base hit? He said, I wanna undress that guy that's sitting out there in short left. I'm like, they're professionals. I said they can catch too now. He said that's the challenge for me. And I can see that. Sometimes the game looked easy to him, and sometimes it almost like he looked bored because it was so easy for him.
And this game is the opposite of that.
This game is so hard, and wow. he made it look easy.
And as a media member, right, I hear stories about, well, was he kind of surly to the media? What was he like as a teammate?
He was an awesome teammate. I think he gets a bad rap because he was. I always call it like it almost had you had to catch him like on the right day. Mm-hmm. But as a teammate, he was awesome. He was awesome. Even today, I can call him and give him crap, and he would give it right back to me.
Well, I've heard back from Ozzie.
Oh, what did he say?
He said, ask him. Hold on a second. This is in Ozzie. This is in Guillenese. So
Guillenese.
I have to translate it. Ask him about having to be on the field early every day to get better at second base. Like, did you come out early to work at second base?
Oh yeah. Even when I was traded to the Oakland, and I did the same thing, and with the Giants, I would come out early to get better.
And then I
got that from Ozzie.
You got that from Ozzie.
Got that from Ozzie.
Like, how early did you go out there?
Well, we call it early work. It was early work. If it was a day game, we'd get out there if the game was at 1, get out there at 9, 10. Even for a night game, get 2:30.
So did he help with your work ethic? Did he give you the proper, did you have enough work ethic before you got to the White Sox? Did he help in that, instilling
No,
that?
I had great work ethic. Because, in order to, get to that level, you had to work. Everybody was just as talented or if not more talented than you were. So, you had to, you had to work.
Yeah. One last thing from Ozzie. I'm curious to know your reaction to this. He goes, I'm so proud of him.
Oh,
I never thought he was going to have a great career.
Wow.
Or maybe I'm reading that wrong, but that's what he wrote. I never thought he was going to have a great career. I guess maybe when he first met you. I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe you should call him up and say, "What did you mean by that?"
Yeah.
I should be like, "What did you mean by that?"
What are you talking about, Ozzie? I don't know. But that's I don't know. I'm honestly speechless.
He put you on the spot. He put me on the spot. He put you on the spot.
He put me on the spot.
I'm going to respond with why.
Yeah.
Why did you not think he was going to have a great career? You were good right from the beginning.
Yeah. I mean, I was good from Jump Street, and putting some good seasons. I mean, they doing great seasons.
Okay, so you know what? There is a chance that even though I did read that verbatim, his English when he writes is so bad that he didn't mean that. He definitely meant I am so proud of him.
Right.
Maybe he meant to say I always thought he was going to have a great career.
Thought, right.
So anyway, we'll see if he responds. But before you're stunned, I'm stunned. But that's what he said, and I wanted to share that with you because maybe there was something to that. I was thinking, well, maybe you never thought you were going to have a great career. So if Ozzie saw that, maybe there was something to it.
No, I mean, I always thought that I was a good player. Mm-hmm. I mean, my goal was to be like I always had like Carlos Baerga, mm-hmm. And that was kind of the person that you were trying to catch. Robbie Alomar.
Yeah.
I mean, if I wanted to go to the All-Star game, I had to beat those two. I had to be better than those two. And if I wanted to win a Gold Glove, I had to beat those two.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. But I mean, that was the goal. I mean that was the bar. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to get to that bar.
Before I wrap up here, do you have any memories of Hawk Harelson? Because I wrap up the podcast by he recorded something for me to wrap up the podcast. So I'm like, you know what? I wonder if Ray has some Hawk Harelson memories.
Just a great announcer. I mean, it was always great talking with him. Before the game, after the game, just talking baseball. I mean, it's the Hawk.
No one loved the White Sox more than Hawk Harelson. You could hear it on the air, off the air. I love that man.
I can hear it in my ear right now.
Yeah. You can put on the board.
Put on the board. Yes.
I wonder, did you ever hear him like while you were on the field, if there weren't a lot of fans in the park, home or away, did you ever hear Hawk in the booth? Like literally here in the booth?
No. He wasn't that loud.
Yeah, well, he's just loud on the air.
Loud on the air.
Well, listen, Ray, this was great meeting you. It's my first time ever talking with you, and you kind of filled in a gap for me because you were such a great player for many years at a time when the White Sox were they're getting there. They're on the cusp. They're on the cusp.
So close.
So close. So it's been great catching up with you, and my apologies for Ozzie.
It's quite. I mean, if I didn't know him, it would be a problem, but I know him, and
you know Ozzie.
Yeah, I know Ozzie.
Yes, you do. You spent a lot of time with him. So
yes, a lot of time.
Yeah, but listen, he does think the world of you, and the feelings is mutual for sure.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm going to play some of this for Ozzie on our show this year. Specifically the part where did you really mean I didn't think that Ray was going to be great?
You need to elaborate.
Yeah, please elaborate. And he hasn't gotten back with me yet. So maybe that'll be in part 2 of my interview with Ray Durham. We'll have you come back on the podcast, maybe with Ozzie, and we can figure out what this is all about. Okay. Ray Durham here on the White Sox podcast.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it's great to have you on. Great to be speaking with you, and White Sox fans are really going to love this because you've been, you were here, you meant so much to the team, and then all of a sudden, there goes Ray Durham.
Out the door.
Bringing you back. Great to hear your voice. All right, that's a wrap for this edition of the White Sox podcast, and the aforementioned Hawk Harelson. Take it away.
All right, Chuck, this edition of the White Sox podcast is over.